Welcome in, everybody, to Leading Off right here on Fantasy Pros. It is me, Joey P, Joe Pisapia. That refreshed and handsome young man is Dan Harris, and it's you. And we're talking all things baseball. It's Monday. It's a new week, a fresh start for a lot of teams. The trade deadline was hot. Woo-wee! It was unbelievable. Best trade deadline ever, in my opinion. And of course, Dan Harris wasn't here to experience it with me. He was off driving all the way to New York. But Dan, obviously a lot of things to get to. I want to hear your thoughts on the things that happened on Thursday, on Friday, on Saturday, Sunday, maybe even this morning right before the show. Welcome back, buddy. It's good to see your face.
It's good to see you too, Joe. I'm glad to be back. And yeah, so look, people who are familiar with the company know that I'm probably a borderline workaholic. Like I feel very uncomfortable when I don't have like my computer with me. Even when I go to New York to visit family, I have not gone down there without my computer since I started at the company because I have to work. And I said, you know what? August is coming. Got a big month coming ahead. Going down with the family, seeing some people far away, leaving everything here. Not touching anything, not going anywhere. And of course, it is probably the most active trade deadline in baseball history. So I have felt very uncomfortable for several days. I'm glad to be back here. I have thoughts on everything. Let's go. I'm ready.
All the feels.
All the feels.
All the feels. That's what Dan's got. All right, let's go. And let's start with the Dodger stuff because I want to get your take on this. Not only do the Padres not get Scherzer, they lose him to the Dodgers and Trey Turner too. Oh, and Danny Duffy. To me, right now, I actually talked about this on the TV show yesterday, which, by the way, I see the Peanuts and the Cracker Jacks have found on the internets and on the streaming.
Yes.
They're like, Joey P, what are you doing on the TV on Sunday morning? And I'm seeing screenshots of my dopey face. And I'm like, yeah, that's right, every Sunday. But here's the funny part. We talked about Max Scherzer being a plus 750 right now for Cy Young. With everything going on, I know there's going to be a lot of attention on Max Scherzer starts. Max Scherzer is a big name. This is a huge move here. What a terrible week for the Padres. You lose Tatis to an injury. You lose Scherzer to the Dodgers. Man, I feel like the Padres have kind of gotten beat up. And then Yu Darvish goes and gets beat up himself. What are your thoughts on that West right now after that Dodger move?
I think the Padres are realistically out of it in terms of winning the division. Realistically,
yes. Okay,
they are
fair.
now 6.5 games back of the Giants. And again, the Dodgers are still 3 games back. But I think the Dodgers moves sort of had this giant impact on what the rest of the National League was thinking. I'll tell you about it, that I think it certainly had an impact on what the Mets were planning to do, generally speaking. But regardless, yeah, the Padres with Tatis, of course, this was something that we have talked about since the injury first happened. Joe, it's that the risk of re-injury was always there. He is going to need surgery eventually. Maybe not just now. My guess is he'll try to play through it. But with the Dodgers, man, if you want to be optimistic as another National League team, right, you could say, okay, well, they're probably not. You assume they had Trevor Bauer going into this whole year, an ace pitcher. They've lost Trevor Bauer likely for the entire year. They replaced him with Scherzer. It's an upgrade, but it's not that different from what you were thinking. Clayton Kershaw also had a mini setback right now. But the addition of Trey Turner, man, that team, it is the team to beat. I don't care where they are in the standings right now. That's the team to beat in the National League. Just an absolutely dominant force. Mookie Betts playing second for it's an embarrassment.
They create runs now too.
Yeah,
I think that's what you need to do. Like when you have Betts and Turner, guys with speed, guys with contact, guys with power. That's runs created in the playoffs. Those are guys that you don't have. They're a station to station team. All of the Yankees or some other squads, right? And now, I mean, theoretically, if Kershaw can get back healthy, you have not one but 2 Hall of Famers in a rotation. I don't remember the last time in baseball we had. It's been a while since you had 2 Hall of Famers in a rotation.
What's
right
funny
now, I
is
can't name one in Major League Baseball. Can you?
Not off the top of my head, right? Scherzer, I'm sure somebody in the Peanuts and friggin' Cracker Jacks will be able to do it. But the biggest thing for me, Joe, honestly, is like it's Scherzer, it's Kershaw. Scherzer's the best pitcher in that rotation right now, but Walker Buehler's not far behind right now in terms of what they're able to do this year. God, those 3, if Kershaw gets back healthy, goodness gracious, man. Oh, yeah, Urias is good. I mean, eventually the innings, I don't know what they're going to do about the innings. They need the innings from him right now.
Yeah,
right? Gonsolin went on the IL as well. But Buehler has been at Buehler. I don't know what his odds for Cy Young are, Joe, right now. Is it, maybe plus 1,200, something like that? That's actually
no,
where
Bueller's actually the leader on FanDuel, plus 350.
Oh, now he is? He moved
I remember from yesterday. Because from Diamond Bets on Sports Grid yesterday.
Oh, Maddox, Smoltz, Clavin, obviously. Okay. So
I like Mike Mayer says, Shane Bieber, Zach Plesac.
Oh, God.
But seriously, I mean, you don't get 2 Hall of Fame pitchers nowadays on a rotation. And I know they're older, but still, that's a lot. That's a lot to take in.
What's fascinating, though, with this, Joe, just from a real baseball perspective, is that they can't just rest on their, right? You look at this, and obviously Turner isn't playing right now because he's on the COVID list, and you've got Scherzer, but they can't rest on, ordinarily, you'd be like, great, okay, this is an absolutely dominant force of a team. They can chill out. They can wait till playoffs. No, there's 3 games back. Though. Is not insignificant right now.
No,
it's
Giants.
Not. They've got to keep pushing.
You're right, because I actually think that's good for them, because I think sometimes when you're a champ and you're up on top too long, you get complacent. So I think chasing is actually good for the Dodgers. I think it's good that for the Dodgers' sake, I think it's good that the Giants have been as good as they have been, because it made them like, we can't, everything you're saying, rest on our laurels, get behind ourselves a little bit. The Yankees, man, how many times on this show have I said the Yankees lineup is too right-handed? Well, after this week, they're not. They've got Anthony Rizzo and Joey Gallo now, 2 left-handed bats. I love this addition. Rizzo's also a guy in the clubhouse that I think they need desperately. They haven't had that kind of dude in the clubhouse since Jeter left. Like somebody who's a leader, who's a rock, who somebody can go to. Also very weird to see both of them completely clean shaven and haircuts and all that stuff. Very weird. The A's acquired Starling Marte from the Marlins. The Blue Jays acquired Jose Barrios from the Twins. This was the other guy beside Scherzer for us that was the big mover. And my Toronto Blue Jays, that's right, my Toronto Blue Jays, I'm adopting them.
Oh,
I'm very excited for this. I want them to go on a run, and Barrios goes out there, throws 6 scoreless yesterday. They're at home in front of Canada. They're wearing their old school blue jerseys from the early 90s. Oh my goodness, all the feels again coming back for me. But I love this move because now you got Ryu, Ray, and Barrios. That's a trio you can compete. If you could just get into the playoffs, they're going to be fascinating. And I just love Barrios just getting out of Minnesota. I think he just needed a change of scenery. And you look at the numbers, they're very good. The K to walk very good. The K ratio per 9, very good. All those numbers are very good. Now you get some run support. Good defensive team, too. What are your thoughts on the Barrios deal?
Okay, so there are a couple things. First of all, Wonky Penguin, of course, one of the original listeners, points out the very obvious Randy Johnson.
Yeah, but I meant modern day. That was, guys, that was 20 years ago.
First of all right, we're just popping things off the top.
I know, but anyway. Think about it. How many times do you get 2 Hall of Fame pitchers in a rotation? Not very often.
All right. Regardless, let's talk about it. So let's start with Barrios because you mentioned a couple things there. Barrios, look, he had a great start. Obviously, this is about as good of a he's like, okay, the Royals. I'm very familiar with the Royals. The Royals are a light hitting team. Has a great first start. I think it's a great move by the Blue Jays. I don't know, though, Joe. You and I are both huge Blue Jays fans. Their lineup is awesome. Their rotation is good. Their bullpen, which they added as well, very good. But they're like 8.5. They're 8.5 games back, man. And they've got
the wild card.
They're I know, but they've got 2 teams in their own division ahead of them as well. Yes, so I'm glad they went for it. They should go for it. They paid a price for Barrios, as the Twins should have made them pay. But for Barrios specifically, I don't know, man. This is hard, right? Because he's on a better team, so there's better win equity now. But look, Barrios is having the best season of his career overall. But again, his xFIP, the biggest thing that's always been sort of the thing is that Minnesota, because it's more of a pitcher's park, or at least neutral, but more of a pitcher's park, it generally suppresses the home runs that he's given up. So his xFIP is usually almost always a little bit higher. But this year, he's basically right there. It's 362. That's good. But going to Toronto, Joe, as much as it's an upgrade for a pitcher than Buffalo or anything like that, it's still a pretty significant hitter's park. He's going to face the AL East, which has pretty universally solid lineups as opposed to Central, which does not. I think it's a downgrade for him overall. I'm not moving him significantly, but I do think that I'm going to downgrade him a little bit rest of season just for the park factor alone. I think it's a great move for the Blue Jays, innings eater, but for him, from a fantasy perspective, it's got to be a little bit of a downgrade for me.
I'm here with Paul. Paul says, boo Dan. I'm going to boo Dan as well. You know why? Because I like Barrios. I'm not moving him down in my rankings. I'm going to move Barrios up in my rankings. This is the same organization that got Robbie Ray right. Robbie Ray, the guy who's perennially disappointed us, the guy who's always let us down, the guy who walks the ballpark, the guy start to start, he makes Wade Miley look consistent. And now all of a sudden, You get Barrios, a guy at a high end, so maybe you tweak a couple things there. Who knows what could happen? Hey, Roy Halladay pitched in that ballpark. We've had a lot of good pitchers over the Dave Stieb back in the day in the old.
Look, you can be successful in that ballpark. I'm just saying that when you are already a very good pitcher and you go from a good, decent ballpark for a pitcher, it's fine. Win equity is there. Very briefly, though, let's talk about Rizzo. Rizzo is a guy who we talked about Gallo, right? Like, great, you get the short porch. Who really cares? Because it's Joey Gallo. He's going to hit, home runs on the moon, wherever he is. Rizzo, though, is a guy who's really going to benefit from that short porch. He is a guy who's a home run equity. Like, I think he had, 14 coming into the...
Yeah, it would have been 22, I think, 2 months.
Exactly.
The other day.
That's a huge difference.
Yeah.
Huge difference. Like, basically, more than 50%. So he's a guy who's really going to take a huge fantasy upgrade with this move.
Yeah, I'm not saying Barrios is huge, but I'm not moving him down either. I'm not disrespecting the Barrios.
That's fine.
Not going to do it. Look
That's
at you.
fine.
You're all rested and ready to go this morning.
I'm ready.
By the way, I see people here trying to come up with other. No, Verlander and Cole and Greinke is not 2 Hall of Famers. I see 1 Hall of Famer there. Also, Halladay, Cliff Lee, and Roy Oswalt. Also, only 1 Hall of Famer there as well. Sorry, Cliff Lee's a nice pitcher. He's not a Hall of Famer. Yeah, I mean, just trying to think. The Yankees at one point too, like. Was Sabathia there with somebody else? Maybe that's probably one that I'm not thinking of, but that's
it. Is Sabathia making the Hall of Fame?
Let's talk about some other... Yeah, I think he is, actually. I
maybe.
think he's going to.
We'll have a Hall of Fame debate show, all right? We'll do that.
Yeah, I'm fine with... Oh, please. That's
Joey Votto, first ballot. That's all I know.
Oh, God. Joey Votto put up 60 points this week against me in the playoffs. I'm so mad at Joey Votto.
And I was at the Saturday game where, we were talking about it, and he hits this absolute... rocket that somehow stays in the ballpark. I don't know.
So the Cub bloodletting, what didn't stop with Rizzo, you also got Chris Bryant going to the Giants, which I believe called here on this show.
Yep.
And also Javi Baez, who Dan got to see homer in person, which was pretty
First
cool.
game.
So Excellent. It was a good move there for the Mets. You're bringing a guy who can play shortstop, you slide him over to second base when Lindor comes back. But the closer, Craig Kimbrell, going to the White Sox, now 2 very formidable arms. This is a great move by the White Sox, who are relatively quiet. But I think this was the move that really, you've shortened the game now by 2 innings, and you have 4 really good starting pitchers. Not to mention the rest of the bullpen ain't too bad. So this is really interesting. What did you think of the Kimbrell move?
That was a great move by the White Sox. I thought it sucks for fantasy because I don't know. First of all, even now, I do not know who's going to get the saves. From their usage this weekend, it looks like it's still going to be mostly Hendricks in the 9th and Kimbrell in the 8th, which basically takes the, all of Kimbrell's value away. If they mix and match, it's going to take some of both of their values away. Like, it's just, for real life, fantastic. For fantasy, sucks. Because it just doesn't do it for me. So for right now, look, if I roster Kimbrell, I'm holding him for now because I want to see how this shakes out. But for the most part, I think based on what I'm expecting, is Hendricks is probably going to close most days, and Kimbrell's going to get the 8th, which stinks. But again, I'm still holding him. He's valuable just for his ratios, by the way.
Yeah,
like when you're thinking about starting a crappy starting pitcher who has a 1-start week, like start Craig Kimbrell, you'll probably get 6-7 strikeouts anyway and a couple scoreless innings. So, but fantasy value, it hurts.
I think maybe next year we do a live stream around the trade deadline day from like 3 o'clock to 4. That'd be really fun to do.
I will not schedule a trip to New York next year.
No, it's just it all randomly happened this way. But I'm just saying that would be really fun. Like a fun, like us here with the people talking it out, the things going on. We might have to do that next year. All right, let's do the 3 ups and 3 downs. All 3 former Cubs hit 3 home runs in their first games with their new teams. That's pretty amazing. So some history there. Chris Sale, 5 innings, 81 pitches in AAA, struck out 7. Looks very good. That's a huge addition. Not a trade, but a huge addition there for the Red Sox soon. And Mookie Betts off the IL, hit a home run. Now he's playing second base, which means he'll qualify there at Yahoo for the next 10 years, so that'll be really fun.
Correct.
3 down. Tyler Glass now headed for Tommy John surgery. I mean, if you thought it was going to end any differently, I don't know.
Yeah.
And once again, this kind of goes back to conversations we had earlier about the Blue Jays and who's ahead of them. Yeah, Andrew Heaney. Ooh, I'm so scared of that Yankee acquisition.
Right. By the way, that was bizarre. Everything was bizarre. By the way, the Yankees are gonna trade for a guy who basically has homeritis in Angels Stadium, and they're bringing him out to Yankee Stadium. The Rays add Nelson Cruz, but they don't really add pitching. Like
the Mets didn't add pitching either. Right. Really, I mean, Williams.
Although again, I have certain thoughts, and we're Mets fans, Joe. But I was with my cousins the whole weekend, so we're all huge Mets fans, and I appreciate what the Mets did this week, adding Baez and not even necessarily paying the price for pitching. I have personal thoughts on that, but people, if you want, I'll discuss them on Discord. We don't have to waste time.
All right. The only the other two downs obviously was not just Glasnow, but the surgery for Tatis is on the table if there's no improvement over the next couple of days. So, my Tout Wars team with Tatis and Bauer is looking like the season's over, which is fine. That's good. It's August 1st. It's football time anyway. I'm fine.
Even Ohtani can't save it, huh, Joe?
Not even Ohtani, all by himself. I'm somewhere in the middle. I think I'm like 8th or 7th or something like that.
Here's the bottom line with Tatis, guys. And we said this in the beginning, and I caught some heat as to where I had him in the trade chart. In the beginning of when he first injury happened, I did not expect him to come back like he did originally. Anyway, just because a subluxation, first time I pronounced it correctly. Well it requires surgery. Just to be clear, Fernando Tatis Jr. will be having surgery to address the issue. It is unavoidable. That's the way it is. It is just whether or not he is able to do it in the offseason versus now. He is a young, incredibly athletic kid that is able to survive this for now. He made some adjustments, as you pointed out, with, he kept both hands on the bat. Mm-hmm. But the kid plays hard all the time. He doesn't know how. That's the problem.
You're right. The style of play. And we knew it would get hurt probably not on
a happened on a slide.
On a slide or diving for a ball, because you can't change the player. You can't change the instincts of the player, especially one of that caliber. You're 100% right.
If you didn't trade Tatis when this first happened, you made out like a bandit because the guy has been great. So I'm sorry I advised you to do it. This was always a worry. I don't know what's going to happen right now. If you roster him, I would certainly put out feelers, see if you can get anywhere close to decent value. Post what? By the way, that's a good question.
How do you feel about Tatis post-operatively?
Man, Joe's nailed that. He's practiced it, by the way, every day. He and I do practice sessions on how to say post-operatively. I do think, by the way, this has no long-term impact on Fernando Tatis. Anyway, he may come back in 10 days and rest and be fine and everything like that. I would put out feelers for him, see if somebody is willing to take the risk on him. But this is why, this is something that it's unavoidable. He will need surgery. If he can get by, great. But again, at some point, the rubber meets the road.
All right. The rubber hit the road or met the road or something.
There it is.
I don't know. All I know is it's Sebi Zavala.
Old man phrase. Yeah.
First player in Major League history to hit 3 home runs in his first 3 at-bats. That's a pretty good day right there. That's a nice day you can tell the grandkids about. George Springer, 6 for 11 over the weekend, 2 dingers. Dansby Swanson, 2. Anthony Rizzo, 2. He loves being a Yankee. Why wouldn't he? Diaz, 3 homers over the weekend. Rafael Ortega, the same. Jonathan Heim, 4 homers over the weekend. Max Schrock, 5 for 5 on Sunday. So it doesn't matter. If you just play first base for the Reds, you just crush life. Apparently that's what's going on. Wander Franco, 3 straight multi-hit games. So you go with the Red Sox. It's like Wander Franco with some lineup protection. Might not be so bad after all. Lineup protection matters, everybody. Remember it next year when you go into your fantasy drafts and you look around at players like, this guy's great. I love this talent. If there's nobody around them, especially if they're a younger player, be concerned. Okay, there you go.
What I really enjoy is that, like, I miss a weekend, I'm catching up, and I'm like, let's see who the big performers were. Oh yeah, it was Sebi Zavala and Max Schrock. That's who really went nuts this weekend. Yeah, look, Joe. I think this is just something where you and I don't always see eye to eye on it. You are very big on lineup protection. You are very big on it. I get it. I think this is much more of something where Wander Franco is just developing as a hitter, and he's too good, and he eventually made adjustments. And you watched it last night, by the way. He had an incredible at bat where he just fouled off enough pitches, battled back, and then eventually got a single. I think he's just an elite hitter that is adjusting to the major league level. I don't really think it's
easier to adjust when you're seeing more fastballs. You're going to see more fastballs when Nelson Cruz is behind you. And that's they're gonna say, okay, what am I going to do here? I don't want to put this kid on because then I got Nelson Cruz coming up with a man on base. So I've got to make sure I find a way to get this guy out. I want to throw fastballs. I want to put the ball in play. I want to do all that stuff, right? Or I'm going to pitch around him. I'm going to walk him, and I think Wander's more disciplined than most. He's going to draw some walks too. So all of it is good completely. Alek Manoah was good also. 4 Ks for him in 7 innings. Kyle Hendricks, who I'm surprised was still there after all the dust settled. I didn't know why. Yeah. John Means bounced back start. 6 Ks against the Tigres. Cole Irvin, 6 Ks as well for him. Herman Marquez, 7 Ks against the Padres, which, by the way, also for the Padres over the weekend, Chris Paddock went on the IL. Another. Yep. The Padres had the worst week ever Snell was bad. Tatis gets hurt. They don't get Scherzer. I mean, Padres fans and Padres team watch very carefully because they play the A's this week and they face Manaea and Montas, who have been pitching out of their mind. If they get swept in those 2 games, I don't know, man. The Padres, this could be dangerous. This is a dangerous time. All I'm saying. Chris Bassett, 7 Ks against the Angels. Zach Gallen, a good start. Kyle Gibson, Phillies debut against the Pirates. If you aren't going to make your debut, you'll want to make it against the Pirates. Vladimir Gutierrez, 7 innings of 1-run ball against the Mutts. And Julio Urias, 5 shutout innings, 7 Ks against the Diamondbacks. Also, little moment here for Sandy Alcantara. 7 innings, 10 Ks against the Yankees.
Awesome.
Love this. Sandy Alcantara, I'm going to just go on record right now, probably in the top 3 most underrated fantasy assets and pitchers because he pitches for the Marlins and because he doesn't going to win a whole lot of games. But he has been tremendous basically all season long.
Yeah, this actually, what was nice about this is it was a little bit of a bounce back considering the strikeouts, because his strikeouts had been a little down 5-3, 5-4, 3-3 over his last 6 starts. So this one to get 10, especially against the Yankees, was really good. And what's great about him, Joe, is that like we've got innings concerns with everyone, right? Innings, you're like, oh, blah, blah. This dude is just going out there and he's like, I'm good. He's got 132 and 2/3 innings right now on the season. Fantastic. It's sort of an underrated, aspect of a pitcher right now, especially this year. We talked about it a lot coming into the year, especially right now where pitcher, you got Freddie Peralta where we're like, all right, man, what do you got? 60 pitches? You're out of here right now. It's a huge deal for a lot of these pitchers. Alcantara just keeps going out there and just absolutely putting it out there, even if it's not a dominant start. Great effort from him. Really good to see. I don't know what the Rockies were doing, by the way, at this trade deadline. I have no idea, but German Marquez, good to see him bounce back, as you mentioned as well. But again, if you're Trevor Story, you've got to be pretty pissed right now. And I don't know what they were doing, considering the prices of rentals.
Are you pissed or are you just confused? I don't even know if you're Trevor Story.
It might be better. Like if you're Trevor Story, you're like, okay, this is behind me. I'm playing in Colorado for the rest of the year. Colorado is obviously good for a hitter. I'm just going to go,
go pad some stats.
Pad some stats and get a big deal next year. But very weird deadline by the Rockies.
Did you put this Matt Harvey thing in there, or is this Mayer?
No, it's Mayer. It's mostly.
All right, because I'm going to answer this question because it's more of a question stat. Matt Harvey, 5 Ks, no earned runs, 6 innings pitched. Harvey's last 3 starts, all quality starts, 11 Ks, no earned runs, 8 innings pitched. Matt Harvey, you buying in? No, I'm not. Are you buying into Matt Harvey?
No.
Not if my season depended on it. Am I going to?
No, I mean, I just can't imagine that it is August.
ERA.
It is August 2nd. Okay. If you are still caring about fantasy baseball, congratulations. You have had a successful. That's how I view it, Joe. Right? Mm-hmm. If you're still in it enough to be watching us and to care about your fantasy team on August 2nd, you've had a successful season. If you've had a successful season, you are not out there being like, who I'm going to roll the dice with? Matt Harvey. It's just not happening. Forget about it. It doesn't matter. Hopefully he's good for the rest of the season. It will not be on my fantasy team or yours or probably any of our listeners.
All right, here's some more duds. We mentioned Darvish giving up 3 home runs there against the Rockies. His ERA in July was 7.36. Yeah, oh God, Padres fans right now, not good. Eovaldi, a rare bad start for him. He's been pretty solid all year. 5 earned runs. I'll just take that and throw it out. It's a bad day at the office. Kopech, 5 earned runs in 1 inning. Got to get him right because that's another live arm if you can get him right. Stroman, 4 runs against the Reds. Detmers wasn't good. He gave up 6 runs. Austin Gomber, 1 inning, 4 runs against the Padres. Also, Alex Verdugo, who we talked about at length, 1 for his last 11, 6 strikeouts. Also not good. I think we hit most of the trades. The thing we didn't hit were the Braves, who acquired Richard Rodriguez. They acquired Jorge Soler, Adam Duvall. Right? They're trying to...
Eddie Rosario, too. That's right. Sorry. They're really saying, hey, you know what? Why not us? If DeGrom doesn't pitch, why not the Braves? I kind of love this. From a fan standpoint, I am very happy because as a Braves fan, I would be miserable that Ronald Acuna got hurt. I would think that's the end. Then Ian Anderson gets hurt, and you're just like, well, whatever. And then they just keep going out there and trying to add some guys on the cheap. And I got a lot of respect for the Braves. This is what a class organization does. And they've been a winning organization for, 30 years now. So, I mean, you could just throw it up there. Dan, what do you think about this? I like Wonky Penguins. First of all, new tagline for our show, so you should check that out. And I think that the trade deadline for no, not that one. There you go. New tagline.
Well, every time you go to click it, another comment
I know.
comes because we're so
Welcome
popular.
to the Fantasy Baseball Show. Can't believe any of you still care. Not that I can't believe. I know you guys still care because you're listening to this podcast. Welcome to the people who still care. Here's what I will say about the Braves and generally about the NL East. I think realistically, Joe, and this is what I said earlier, which is that I think the Dodgers moves probably had an impact on what everybody was thinking. But if you're the Braves, I thought the Braves played this perfectly. The Braves did not give up significant assets to acquire these guys. They just bulked up their team a little bit with low-cost acquisitions in a way that you can say the Mets are not a particularly good baseball team, especially with the Jacob deGrom injury. They're a mediocre team. They basically have an even run differential. So the fact that they're winning is mostly because of luck. Anybody can win this, including the Phillies. I don't think the mayor was too happy with the Phillies and their acquisition of Gibson and Ian Kennedy. But regardless, I think everybody kind of played this in the way of saying like this. The NL East is up for grabs. Realistically, we are not going to be better than the Dodgers, and we're probably not going to survive the playoffs, so I'm not going to mortgage the future. But there's enough for me to be able to win this division, and so I'm going to add without mortgaging my future entirely. And so I think everybody really in the NL East played it pretty well. So the Braves, kudos to them. You're right. Class organization in that sense. They did it right. They probably will not win the NL East, but it's a good move regardless.
It is. We've turned the page into August, and we have a different picture of the fantasy season, and it's amazing too. Like the picture we're at right now, and the picture we were, 5 months ago, or so, kind of heading into the season, trying to look at it all realistically. Not a great weekend for the Cracker Jacks and the Peanuts with the home run calls. Jetro's.
Who did you call, by the way?
I chose Vladdy for the weekend at home. I figured we'd get an emotional home run. Now. Jetro's Max Stassi call was the only home run called on Sunday. Wow, that's crazy. Only on Saturday, Clown Prince, Abe 12, and Smalls all got one correct. So the leaderboard's still the same. Still D. Gordon Liddy with 20 at the top, then Wonky Penguin with 18, Randy at 19, me with 18. So we'll see how it goes from here. Okay. It is not a great slate of DFS, so we'll run through that fast. But before we do, I got to tell you, you got to go get that Lawnmower 4.0. You just don't have a lot of time left. We're in August now. You only got about 30-something days left of real summer before Labor Day comes and all the kids go back to school. I want you out there. I want you on the beach. I want you just running around, jogging in your neighborhood, shirtless, all that stuff. And you need the lawnmower. I used my lawnmower this weekend. That's right. Look at me. Look. Everything.
It looks great.
The top of the head, just gorgeous. Everything. Listen.
For you.
Go out there. Yeah. Leading off is the code. 20% off. Free shipping. It's got the longest battery life ever. The 4K LED light. The 1 through 4 guard lengths. It's got it all. Plus, they have really cool packages for your package. They got lots of fun stuff. And it all can be yours for 20% off. And the free shipping with that code leading off. And don't forget, it's August, which means we got to give away the Shane Bieber jersey this week. We got to read reviews this Friday. Also, Dan Harris, we're giving away merch yet? Do we have merch? Because people keep asking me about the merch.
Very glad you mentioned that, my friend.
Okay.
So, look, I had been, and I will just say this: the people at our company who run the store, they've been moving around a little bit, but I have no excuses. You can yell at me; it's fine. I was told by the end of the month. I checked in yesterday. Obviously, it didn't happen. I've now been told by tomorrow. By tomorrow, we will have leading off merch in the shop. Again, I have promised this many times, so you could disregard me. But by the way, we will give away. But if you want to support the show, again, Joe and I sort of, we started this year with me and Joe doing this every day. We have a pretty good connection with you guys. Like we know all your names. You guys are here. Yeah. You're leaving reviews. And
we all hang out on Discord. If you're not there yet, get there because Discord.
You definitely should. FantasyPros.com/chat, of course. But if you do want to support the show, getting a T-shirt, getting a hoodie, getting a hat, something like that. That will be a way that our company, honestly, when we look at was the show a success, that we will know oh God, people actually like this. People listen. We've got to even ramp it up next year. That will be a good way. But again, I will let you guys know on Discord and then on the podcast, obviously, when it is live, FantasyPros.com/shop. I will let you all.
And I will add this too. The show's going to be gone at some point. You're going to need a leading off hoodie to keep you warm through those cold winter nights.
All winter. You'll need
all winter. You're going to have no leading off. We're all going to be talking about football. In fact, that's going to happen sooner than later too. I don't put a spoiler alert here on the show, but Dan and our jobs do require us to continue to shift focus a little bit in sports because of the time of year, and I hope everybody understands that. So we'll keep you updated on all of that. But in the meantime, just remember that leading off merch, you'll have every day. You'll put your leading off shirt on, you go to work, you put it underneath your shirt and tie, or you put it underneath whatever it is you're working. And
your shirt and tie. That's what you need.
Next to your heart. That's right. Next to your heart is Dan and Joe right there.
Always.
That's what you need.
Always.
Yep. And we've got so many of the taglines. All right, 7 games tonight. They're a disaster. Just go load up on hitting, okay? Ty Lore is on the mound. That's the only guy I feel good about. He is 8.5 on FanDuel, 9.6. Desclafani, 8.7, 9.3. That's it. Shohei Ohtani's dealing with a thumb thing. I want to stack San Francisco. I want to stack Baltimore and New York. I think there's going to be a lot of runs in those games because Andrew Heaney's there. My home run call in New York, Anthony Rizzo. That's where I'm going. And you took the other left-handed bat, didn't you?
I did. We had the exact same thoughts, Joey. I'm going with Joey Gallo, who will probably just walk like 6 times. But regardless, if he pops one out, it's going. So Joey Gallo, Gallo for me, Rizzo for you. I love both the calls. I think they're both going deep tonight.
Let me tell you, I can't believe we both went there. That is fantastic.
No, I look, Joe, it's so funny. We're so in sync at this point where I look at the board, I make a couple of notes on potentials, and I try to be like, I bet Joe's going here. And I did say, I was like, he's going Yankees. It's got to be short porch. It's got to be Rizzo. So that's where we are.
Gross. Yeah, so look, stay away from play the over on the Yankee game. That's what I would do today. Stay away from the DFS. Dan, you weren't here Friday. It's great to have you back. It was a nice, fun, fresh month, fun, fresh week. Good Monday start. Any final thoughts for everybody today?
We're going to keep this going. As Joe said, we're going to keep this going. We will be eventually, Joe will need to basically be hosting 35 football shows a week, essentially going forward. So there are going to be a couple of changes after the midpoint in August, but the show will continue to be here because I know you guys love it. And again, if you're here, you care about fantasy baseball. Some of you just care about baseball. Some of you just care about us because we love you. That's great. So we will, I promise we are not going to completely abandon you whatsoever just because football, but we do have a lot of cool stuff starting in football. I have a new show starting in football, which I will tell you guys about on this show, which I have already recorded the first episode and it is going to launch. It is going to be great if you support us, if you support me. It'd be great if you guys could listen to it, maybe give it a review, but we'll talk about that all going forward. Love that everybody was still here waiting after the weekend. I am glad to be back. It was a great show. So thanks for holding down the fort while I was gone, Joey.
Man, look, thank Tuma for popping in there.
Yes, thank you, Tuma.
Look, don't riot. If there's no me and Dan, don't riot. I mean, you got a great group here. You got Mayor, you got Tuma. Look, we're not going to leave you high and dry, but obviously the focus on football is huge in the company and in sports. And it's just like we prepared you guys for the baseball season, same thing. And I'm just excited because I feel like even next year when we turn the page, all after football, you and I have leading off to look forward to again. And now that we've created this community on Discord, on the show, watching live, people who listen, it's great. It's such a cool community. And this is only year 1 of Dan and I doing this show. It's tremendous. So again, we're not going anywhere just yet.
By the way, if you discovered us in season, where we go nuts is heading into the season is draft time. We have guests on from all, but again, Joe and I, full disclosure, we were just learning each other. We were learning our little, the way to podcast
Love it
together.
First pod. That's what you and
It's true. We did. I'd like to think that we hit the ground running, but even next year, coming into the year, it's just going to be better, even better than it was. So thank you for sticking with us. I'm not saying goodbye. We're going to be here for a while, certainly. But again, we love it. So don't worry about it. We'll say, more from my mom's house. Don't worry. I promise. We'll have more podcasts from her.
All right. Thanks again, everybody, for listening. As always, that'll do it for us. But the story of the game goes on. For Dinger Dan, I'm Joey P.